This podcast is sponsored by BB Makes, a family-run personalised gift company. From sports bottles to team merchandise, BB Makes has you covered. They will happily work with you to create unique designs for your perfect gift, with a wide range of products, all able to be personalised with names, quotes, pictures and much more. Head over to bbmakes.com. That's www.bebemakes.com and use the code COYS so they know that we sent you. Oh, and of course, come on you Spurs.
Welcome to the Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam. Joining me to endure the next 45 minutes roughly of talking about Tottenham Hotspur, it's Stefan.
Hey buddy.
Well, we had like a nice chat last week. I mean, you know, well, what more could you want? You don't expect that every week, do you?
No, exactly. Although, here we go, this will cheer all the listeners up. I actually found something slightly more depressing this week.
I'm not sure
Okay.
we want to go there, do we?
I went for a haircut this morning.
Yeah.
Got a nice new hair. My hair was a mess. Got a nice new haircut. He put the mirror around the back to show me the back of my head.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I almost got blinded by the freaking gleam. I didn't realise I am now bald at the back.
Okay.
And that has put like the Tottenham problems well in perspective. I'm freaking balding at the back, dude.
Is this
I
a
blame
bad
Spurs.
thing for you? Is it, see, I don't
One
know.
bad season, and I've literally lost the hair at the back of my head. Like,
Oh, yeah, I mean, Ange is looking thinner and thinner on top, greyer. Thinner, actually, in general. Ange does look like he's kind of
stress, mate. Stress.
stressed, yeah, it's quite incredible. Well, for all our bold listeners now thoroughly insulted, do you wanna like just carry on? I mean, I don't know whether you want to just dig the
I'm
whole...
like early 30s. I should still have hair at the back.
My brother, who is very bold, went bold in his early 20s. He shaved his head to go on like a rugby tour and it just never grew back.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was like patchy for a while, so we just had to like, you know, bick it because that would have looked worse.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm now
Yeah,
contemplating the top knot just to cover it. I'm going to go full. I'll go full Gareth Bale. I'll just grow it really long on top and have a ponytail over the ball patch.
Mate, if it bothers you that much, there are treatments nowadays you can go to. You can, hey, get a toupee. That'll look pretty.
Get an orange tan. No, let's not go that route. Okay.
No, I've never once really had that bother me. I find my hair annoys me more than anything else, and if I went bald, I'd just be like, oh, that's one less thing I got to deal with.
Yeah, see, it annoys me now.
Well, think about the money you'll save on haircuts. You ought to say to them, look, how bold I am, I should get this half price. I mean, they haven't had to do nothing back there, man. Oh, okay. You're actually really upset. Okay, all right. We'll move on, all right.
Yeah.
Send your best jokes aimed at Stefan to sam@spursnews.co.uk and I will lay them all on him during the week. Okay, so we do have a few things to talk about. Let's open up with the most recent crushing defeat and quite possibly the most bizarre game in so many ways, and also just such a perfect example in one football match of everything this season that I've watched, endured, and kind of looked at and gone, what the fuck is going on? And it all happened against Nottingham Forest at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Monday. We lost the game 2-1. But that's not really the story of the game. Like, the story of the game is mad, really. And I had a bit of a running debate with Polynesian Dan on this, and I think I don't think he's wrong in what he's saying either, but at the same time, I don't think I'm wrong in what I'm saying. I think the listeners are going to bring everyone in on this.
I'm sure, 50% of me is sure Polynesian Dan just says stuff to wind you up. I'm sure of it.
No, he does.
You two have a debate and he'll just throw a line in and I'll be like, oh, that's just a stirrer pot.
Oh, no, he does. Yeah. Because every now and again it's more overt. Like every now and again he'll just go, yeah, we do miss AVB's tactical genius, and I just fucking lose it. And it's just like, or like he'll be like, yeah, you know, we miss Redknapp's ability to motivate the team, and I'm like, what, the same fucker who said he was taking the England job and we lost out? Yeah, I lose. I just like and then he's just, I can almost sense him like sitting back, like got him. But I try not to bite. I try, but sometimes if you're in the trenches and you're arguing a point, and someone just does that, you do just tend to like Tasmanian devil it. At least I do.
Yep.
But the thing about the Nottingham Forest game, so I'm just going to put it to you first. You watched it, I watched it. How do you sum up that game, like to you personally?
Frustration. After they scored the first goal, and I was kind of like, Jesus, already, like, Pre-game, I kind of said pre-game, it's going to go one of two. I know it's going to go one of two ways and all that, but I was like, Nottingham Forest this season have either been pure counter-attack brilliance and won matches, or it's gone wrong and they've got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
That's like the story of their season, and I'm like, please let it be the second. Like,
we say that's the story of their season, but they're in the top four. They've not got destroyed very often.
No, but when they have lost, it's like been really
they've
bad.
Got battered, yeah.
And I'm like, there's been some teams that they just can't, their counter-attacking football doesn't work against some teams, and I was really hoping that like the high press and us just getting at them would be like, okay, this could work in our favour.
Bless you.
And within, what was it, 4 minutes or 5 minutes?
Yeah, basically 5 minutes.
It was 1-0, and I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those games. Okay. And then Chris Wood scored the disallowed goal.
Yeah.
And I had the remote in my hand ready to turn it off. I was like, I'm not doing this to myself again. Like, if it's 2-0 already, and it got disallowed, and that horrible little thing inside you that goes, oh, that was the sign. That was the bit that will get us going. It didn't.
Again, bless you for thinking that. Yeah.
And then it went 2-0. And I'm watching this game, and I'm like, that's only like the second shot they've had at goal.
Yeah.
How have they both, like, the first goal, it took a deflection, but frickin' what a hit. And you kind of watch that go in and you go, that's frustrating, but he hit that and a deflection and, okay. The second goal...
You said that in chat, and I actually really disagree on that. I think that's a massive error from Vicario. Like, I think that was a really easy save.
I having watched the replays back, at the time, I was just kind of like, that's well hit, deflection, it's gone in.
Yeah.
And then the second goal, Vicario came out thinking he was something out of an MCU movie, just flies out, nowhere near the ball, header into an open goal, and I'm like, okay. Right, okay, it's going to be one of those games. And at this point, I'm like, this could easily be like 4 or 5-0.
So, I mean, this is funny, and me and you have had this conversation so many times. Two people, largely like-minded, both Spurs fans, can watch the exact same game and have different opinions from the exact same instance. It's one of the things about football. It's great.
Yeah.
On that first goal, the first time I saw it, I saw the deflection and I thought, crap, that's why Vicario looked stupid. Because he did look stupid. He looked like he kind of dived away from it and it was just like, crap, it took a deflection.
He threw a hand out it, yeah.
Yeah, when I watched it back, the deflection really took the pace out of the shot, and it kind of spun up. And if he'd actually just put his hand up, it genuinely was there to be saved.
Yeah.
Look, errors happen. It was fairly early in the game. Perhaps if that had happened 10 minutes later, like he'd had his hands on the ball a couple of times first, he might have saved. Do you know what I mean? It's like different things. So again, I think similar to you, I kind of just chalked that as a bit of a, what a bastard, they happen. Sometimes you see like the best keepers in the world, the best defenders in the world, someone hit a shot, banks off like a friggin' 5 or 6 players and it goes in.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, it happens. So I kind of what a nightmare, because Nottingham Forest are now just going to sit in, which we struggle with. But okay, right, it's happened, we got to go. The fact that they then scored again, and yes, it was offside, but I actually argue greatly that that shouldn't be offside. Okay. I know this is a separate debate, but when a forward is timing his run, the only part of him that was offside was his arm shoulder in that scenario.
Which is technically a part of the body you're not meant to score a goal from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his body angle is he is getting ready to run because he knows the ball's going to get played. So he is stood onside, but his body angle is such that he's gone beyond the imaginary line that gets drawn, and therefore he's offside. I want goals like that to stand. I want strikers to be... I want goals.
Who was it? Someone had said, I can't remember, it was someone quite big in the football world said that they want to change the offside rule to daylight.
It's Arsene Wenger.
Was it Wenger that said the change?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't agree with very much that man says, but I'm like,
No.
That would make sense. If there is daylight between the striker and the defender, that's offside.
Yeah, because the whole thing always used to be like, if a linesman looks across and he's not sure, give the benefit to the attacking team because we want goals.
Yeah.
That's always the thing. Now, they've made it matter of fact with technology, so okay, I get it, and you got to draw the line somewhere. So I get it. All better rules, that's offside, etc. But I'm just saying, as me as a football fan, obviously not me as a Tottenham fan in that moment, but as a football fan in general, I don't think the striker's done a lot wrong there. Do you know what I mean? He's like seen where the ball's going to go. He's angled his body to make his run. He's got in between the defenders. He's done everything right. If he doesn't perhaps start his run that early, maybe he doesn't turn his body, but then of course maybe he doesn't get there. He's up against Van der Ven. He knows he's got to time it spot on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a separate debate. But obviously the goal is ruled out. Now my thinking at this moment is, if that doesn't wake us up, nothing will. Because we could have been 2-0 down in that game after 10 minutes, and we'd not even really started. We'd not really done anything at that point.
No.
And it didn't. We still continued to look not at it at all. So my first kind of real point I want to pick up on, we, about 3 weeks ago, had a conversation where it felt to me that it wasn't so much the players weren't playing for Ange anymore, it was that they lacked any kind of motivation in the league. They're, looking at the league table, they know they're safe, which they are now, 100% safe, but we're pretty much safe
mathematically
before.
Confirmed, no relegation. Get in.
For a start.
We normally say that sometime around December, January.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be saying it every year from this point on. I'm back to that again. This is how poor we are. But my point is on this, it is clearly a motivational thing, because if we had played like we did at Frankfurt against Nottingham Forest, we win that game. Forest were not good in this game. They scored 2 early goals. Now, the debate I've had with Dan is the fact that they scored those 2 goals and then stopped, because that's how Forest play. We'll circle back to that debate in a minute. But my point is, they didn't really have to do a lot. You got a bit of a lucky deflection goal, which was poor defending. Like, we just let the guy have all that space on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
I think it was Kulusevski was just stood there, and as the ball was cleared, rather than making sure it was cleared, he just sprinted off like, yay, I'll get the ball on a counter-attack. No.
Yeah.
No, they've scored.
It wasn't, I don't blame Porro at all. He's got up to a corner as a first man and headed it away. But it wasn't a good header away. And then there should have been other players alive to go, oh, now we clear it away.
That's kind of my alive to it. No one was. He has, in essence, done his job. He's got his head to it. Now, sometimes spin on the ball, pace of the ball and stuff like that, you can get your head to it and the thing goes cannoning off. We've all seen own goals where the defender's gone the near post to clear it and the ball's spun, like hit the top of his head rather than, it's like, shit, that's like the best finish I've ever done in my life.
They're looking around trying to work out where the ball went and the keeper's going, fuck it,
Exactly, the shit like that can happen, but the fact he's got his head on it and it is, in essence, being cleared, the team just switched off. Like, oh, he's done his job. I don't have a job now. I just stand here. What happens? It was just bizarre. but it summed up our entire defending structure for the entire season.
That's the whole season in one, isn't it?
Which is just no one doing the work. Everyone just kind of looking at each other like, well, you do that, and then I'll do my bit, which is at the other end. No, that's not how it works, and it is very frustrating. Now, the second goal, like you said, this is the interesting thing for me, like in this, is because, and this isn't a flip-flop comment, by the way, but you and a lot of others have quite rightly said Vicario at different times this season has looked timid and not come and claim the ball.
Yeah.
You have, haven't you? You're absolutely right, and you have, and at times he has done that, and I have often said, I think a lot of that comes down to the confidence with the defenders and stuff around him. When you've got the players you're used to and you kind of know each other, you have that little bit more confidence. In this moment, Chris Wood got between Van de Ven and Romero for the second time. The first time he scored and it was offside. This is the second time he's done it.
Yep.
I think this is a failing of the collective there, not just Vicario. Vicario looks stupid because of the way he's gone for it and missed it. That he looks stupid.
Yep.
But he wouldn't be coming out there if Van de Ven actually picked up his man and actually was goal side of him. Vicario doesn't need to.
Correct.
If Romero was doing his frigging job and attack the ball, he wouldn't need to be trying to come out there. It is a collective failing, again, of them just switching off. And it's an epidemic level in this team of just brainless defending all the time. And yet, we played Frankfurt, and they launched that ball into the box, and I don't think a ball went in that didn't meet Romero or Van de Ven.
Yep.
The two of them dealt with everything all night. Every through ball, everything. They were on it. They were at it because they were motivated. So what in the shit is happening when you're playing a home game? It's a Monday night. You've struggled all season. Why is it that they've gone out there like it's a frigging training match?
It pisses me off. It is the
But it's bizarre, isn't it? Because, if all the players are down their tools and, this manager's shit, we're not playing for him, I hate it when they do that, but I get it. This isn't working, we're not motivated, whatever. But for the same manager, they ran through walls for him the Thursday before.
Yep.
And they all vocally were this is for him. Van de Ven in the press conference, we are fully behind this man. Prove it.
Yeah.
If they had beat Frankfurt the way they did, and then beat Nottingham Forest the other night, Spurs fans would actually take notice to that and go, okay, all right. Yeah. Maybe all the reasons this season have been the crap, there are behind the scenes stuff. There is, because there's so many rumours about, people behind the scenes have made changes, which the team, the squad, the management aren't happy with. That's why he's been given so much longer, because actually behind the scenes the club know it's not his fault and the players know it's not his fault. That's why they're still backing him. There are so many rumours about that if the results were to turn around, you would actually, I think, a lot of fans would actually take note of that, would actually start looking at that more than just blaming Ange.
Whereas now they've just lost to Nottingham Forest and all of social media is get Ange out, he's clueless, he's out of his depth, he doesn't know what he's doing, the players aren't good enough, this.
Yeah.
And it's still
it's toxic again.
We've gone from Thursday night, we're in a semi-final, amazing, to Monday night, we're back to toxic.
Yeah, instantly. And that's there is a underlying bubbling problem in the fan base, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse because of the mismanagement of the entire club. You cannot mismanage this club to the level they have for this long and not expect it to go to shit. And what we are seeing this season, for a lot of fans, it's a shock. For a lot of other fans, this is what they've been predicting for quite some time. Yeah. This is what they've been fearing for quite some time, because they've been looking at the squad mismanagement. They've been looking at behind the scenes stuff, the focus on business and finance, not the team. It has been something that for a lot of people it's been this is what I feared for a long time, and actually this is a little bit better than what I feared because of the Europa League run, but this is still bad. Like, this is bad. And it is awful.
I think we all knew at some point the actual football club itself was going to struggle because of how much has been put into off-the-field stuff. The on-the-field stuff feels like it's been neglected for a long time.
Yeah, that's I feel like this is a culmination. Yeah, exactly. It's like the chickens coming in the roost and all the other parlances. But going back to this Nottingham Forest game then, after we went 2-0 down, in Dan's view, Polynesian Dan says Nottingham Forest at that point stopped playing. They just shut the door, shut up shop, because that is Nuno's way. That is how they do it. Oh. No, different context. I don't have to play the song.
Nope, you're fine.
So, because of that, that's his view is the fact we got all the possession, the fact we created so many chances from that point on, is purely down Nottingham Forest play. I don't think he's wrong in that regard. I do think Forest just went, yep, 2-0, job done, shut up shop. I do think that's what they planned, that's what they did. His sub suggested that as well, so I get that.
We might score again on the counter-attack, but it's more now important that they don't score than we score again.
Yeah, so I think he's right. But then I also think I'm right in saying that, does this mean then that Nottingham Forest have just been insanely lucky this season? Because if you're saying this is what every single one of their games has been, they were fucking lucky to win that game against us. We hit 51 crosses into their box. They allowed that. I know for a fact that we're probably mad at him. We had so many chances. Like, I can think just off the top of my head now, Richie had 3 good chances. I wouldn't say they were like, oh my God, how did he miss those? He had 3 good chances and he did score as well, obviously.
Yep.
I can think of Tell having 2 good chances. I can think of Odebert creating one himself, which was a really good opening, but didn't. I can remember their keeper making a great save. I can remember one of their defenders making a goal line clearance, which was incredible, by the way. Fair play to him. That's great defending.
Yeah.
My point is, if that is how Nottingham Forest have played the entire season, they must be the luckiest bastard team in the league, because you pointed out when they've lost, they've got hammered. That means they're on the verge of being hammered every single game. Because in reality, again, a different, tiny margins in that game, we win that 4-2, 5-2, 7-2.
Yep.
We dominated it to the point that if we had won by that scoreline, no one, not even a Nottingham Forest fan. And what is interesting is I spend time on social media during the game. I have the Twitter feeds open so I can look at reactions to stuff, both Nottingham Forest and Tottenham fans. And Nottingham Forest fans, the whole thing were crap. We are playing so crap. This is awful. Well, I know we're 2-0 up, but they're going to come back into this. Like, they're going to score. We got to get on the ball. Like, every single comment was, this is really bad. So they obviously do play better than this normally.
Yeah.
But is the argument then that they scored 2 and switched off because they went, oh, it's only Tottenham, they're shite? Or is it that we actually, after they shut off, we did dominate the game, we did create chances, but actually our finishing was fucking atrocious, and not for the first time.
That and
it was
what frustrated me, like you said, we put 51 crosses into the box.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest have 2 incredibly good central defenders.
Yeah.
Who deal with balls into the box really quite well.
Yep.
What frustrated me was the fact that we then put 51 crosses into the box. And it's like, if you're playing against a team, and we all know that behind the scenes, each manager, coaches, whatever, do their research on the opposition.
Yeah.
Surely someone went, okay, these guys are really quite good at balls into the box. They've got 2 big towering centre-backs that deal with balls into the box.
I think I need to interrupt
you slightly. By the 30th cross, someone must have turned around and gone, this is
I think I need to interrupt you slightly, because a define of a cross isn't necessarily a ball swung in head height.
That is true.
Across
stat. It in and that sort of,
yeah. And there's actually a breakdown, like on Opta stats, it was 51, they call it ball deliveries into the box, so 51 crosses that is used on other stats. Of them went in 11 were airborne. Of the 11, Tottenham created 5 chances. So yeah, you're right. They have got very good defenders, but we actually did create chances.
Yeah.
Like Richie missed 3 headers and scored 1.
Yeah.
That's 4.
That's true.
You know, I think Bentancur got on one from a corner. Romero one from a corner. So what is another insane thing, right? Our previous 8 league games, all of them together, does not add up to 51 crosses going into the box.
Jeez.
If I was Solanke, I would have been sat on that bench ready to kill somebody.
Man,
where has
Rich
that
Arlison
service been
probably
for
got
him?
more service in that one game.
He did.
Yeah.
Mate, he literally did. That is the stats.
That's crazy.
Tell and Odegaard did the job of wide players better than every other player that's played there this season. They did. But that's not disparaging the other players because, Sonny and everyone, I love these players, but they did a good job. They were lively from start to finish. They took the players on. They created space. They found space. They linked well with the fullbacks. They did their jobs.
Yep.
The finishing was fucking awful. But the point I was trying to make to Polynesian Dan, and I think he just looked at it as went, well, Forest shut off, so it doesn't count. On another day, let's just make it simple. Solanke's on instead of Richie. This is not disparaging Richie. He's hardly played. And by the way, his record for still scoring goals for us per minute in the Premier League is insane.
He must be good this season.
It's really good. Like, when he plays, Richie does score. It's just he doesn't play enough.
Yeah.
But you swap that around a second and Solanke, with all the service that he's lacked, I would actually bet, because he's that bit more match sharp, Solanke scores. Yeah, I genuinely think Solanke gets 2 or 3 of those chances.
Yeah.
Because of that. And I know this is fine margins. Now, you take this back to Ange, which is, where is the motivation in the league games? Like, what is going wrong? And this is where it still falls on him for me, because after that Frankfurt performance, if they had backed that up against Nottingham Forest, I genuinely, like I said, felt that maybe the fans would have gone, okay, all right, let's see what comes next. But they didn't. Like, they were lackadaisical, they were amateur at the back, and yeah, it is definitely an argument that Forest surrendered the ball after that. They just didn't care. They were 2-0 up. By the time we got 1 back, it was kind of too late.
Yeah, and this is one of the bits that frustrates me the most, is that we've just spoken, like, Odegaard and Tell did a great job.
Yeah.
Kulusevski looked rusty, as you would expect. Yeah. He's been out injured for a while. And I know he says he sees himself as a number 10, but he has spent the majority of his career out on the wing. So to come in as a number 10 when you are that rusty is going to be difficult.
Yep.
The central midfield, again, I feel like that is a bit of a weakness for us at the moment. Our central midfield is either an incredible performance or not on the pitch.
So Bergvall.
Yeah, well, yeah. Bergvall has become our best midfielder.
Yeah.
And I know me and you clashed on him a little bit, but I will admit he is a fantastic midfielder.
It's not really a clash. I'm right and you're wrong. It's not a clash. There's no debate on it. Debate. He's brilliant. You think he's not. So.
I think he is our best midfielder. Our best central midfielder, definitely.
Yeah, but that's like saying which is your favourite turd from the shit you just took at the minute. That's not a compliment saying, oh, I think he's Tottenham's best player. Well, duh.
Not difficult. I don't know what his role is going to be. Like, when he joined us, I thought he was going to take over Maddison's role. Having watched him play, he looks like he could be the closest thing to Dembele that we've had.
Yeah, he's box to box. Like, yeah, he's definitely a box to box player.
Yeah, and the way he can get on the ball and keep. I mean, my frustration is how often he loses the ball, and your biggest praise is how often he wants the ball. So, if he can find somewhere in the middle, I'll be incredibly happy. What worries me the most was that defensive performance. Like, Romero and Van der Ven are meant to be our best 2 defenders.
Yeah.
Romero is meant to be a world-class defender.
He is.
Van der Ven is as close to being a world-class defender at his age as he's going to get.
Yeah.
And they looked shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what really worries me the absolute most, is the fact that at half-time, they both came off.
Yeah.
Now, they both came off. I'm guessing that was a pre-planned, let's get everyone minutes because we're going to need the squad on Thursday.
It was.
Which is fine. But Danso and Davis actually looked better at the back than Van der Ven and Romero did. Now, whether that was because they had less to do, obviously, is one thing. But Danso was getting on the ball and making the runs that you would expect Van der Ven or Romero to make, and getting the ball forward and doing stuff. And I'm like, something's wrong. Like, something is wrong here when your two starting centre-backs have played like that. And I think it does. It goes down to what you said. It's that motivation where they've kind of almost looked at the league table and gone, fuck it. Best we're going to get is 15th. The worst we're going to get is 17th. Fuck it. Let's just play Thursdays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can understand where that thought process comes from. Because no one at the club is used to us being sat in 16th, 17th, 15th in the league after more than about 3 games of the season, you know? And everything this season now rides on the Europa League.
Massively, yeah. And I'm going to come on to this because it's actually a lot bigger than I think people realise.
Oh, yes. But my concern is, if I've never played at that level they're at. I've played at lower levels, and I've played a hell of a lot of football at lower levels and stuff. And if you're going into a game half-assed, I've seen more injuries happen to players on a football pitch because they're half-arsing it. Because you kind of, I throw a leg in. Well, that throwing a leg in without any real conviction or anything is when bad contact happens and you've broken your ankle. Well, and I mean, I really worry about if they're playing with that sort of level of motivation of, can't be asked, wait till Thursday. The last thing we need is a Romero to be half-arsing it, throwing himself into one of his tackles that we know he can do, but not fully, and all of a sudden it's like, Romero's out injured.
Well,
And I'm just like... And the other side of me is, well, if you guys can't be asked on a Saturday, Sunday or Monday, well, play Danso instead. At least play someone who has the motivation to play the league games and save them for the Europa. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean,
like, if we know Davis and Danso are going to give 100%... Fucking Archie Gray has been one of our best players this season, and we haven't seen the poor bastard for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So...
oh, you didn't say that with a good tone of voice either.
No. So let's roll through what we can from that. So I think it's important now to pick up on Cuti Romero in the game. He played one half of football. He picked up a yellow card. I'm just going to say this now because I think it's important to point this out. Pep Guardiola has been booked more times than Cuti Romero this season.
Yep.
The narrative is so aggravating from every commentary team and every pundit. Oh, there's Romero picking up his customary yellow card. It's bollocks. He had a discipline issue for the start of his time in England because he was defending like he did in Italy, and that doesn't fly here. He adjusted, and he has not had a discipline issue since. He really hasn't. If he picks up a yellow card, it's no different to any other player picking up a yellow card. Now, yeah, he's not played much this season, so that stat with Pep Guardiola is slanted. I know that is, but I'm talking about him comparing a central defender to a manager.
Yeah.
He's had less yellow cards than Pep Guardiola. So let's just ram this narrative about him away. And every time you hear it on the press, challenge it. You see it on social media from the talking heads, Jamie O'Hara's and the pricks like that. Tell them to go fuck themselves because we need to.
And it's true because I was one of the biggest critics when he first joined about this whole diving into a tackle. Like, what is he doing? And since Van der Ven joined, that stopped.
Well, it's not just Van der Ven. It's he's learned.
He's learned how to. He's learned the difference between the Premier League and stuff. And
there's a big difference. Now, on Cuti Romero, he did look rattled in this game. He looked like his head was elsewhere. He looked like like I said, he was making errors.
Some may say his head was in Madrid.
Man, if you're going to let me speak.
Sorry.
He looked like during that 45 minutes, he lost his head as well. He was angry. He was diving in on things. He was actually trying to do too much. If you watch it back now, he looked like someone who had a point to prove rather than just playing his game. He was subbed off at halftime, like you said, and really we didn't miss him, which is a sad thing for a player of that level. Directly following the game, an interview or snippets of an interview he has given to an Argentinian journalist were released by that journalist. He did it then for maximum exposure for his interview.
Yep.
Which is Romero sat in our training ground, answering questions, talking about life, football, living in London, everything. And of course, like with every single player ever speaking to a journalist, what are your plans? What does your future hold? While sitting in our training ground, for me, his answers were disrespectful. Because he answered the questions along the lines of, well, in the summer, like, I'm focused right now, we're in the Europa League semi-finals, it's been a tough season. My focus is purely on Tottenham, but in the summer, I'm going to chat to the agent and see what options I've got. He's got 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
So if Tottenham say your options are you stay here or you stay here, you're staying. So it's a little, but I kind of get what he was trying to say. And bear in mind, this is a translation from the interview. So translations are always blunt. And also it's a snippet. We don't have any greater context. We don't know if he then goes on to say, but obviously, I love it here. Whatever. Like, nobody knows that at this point.
Yeah.
But the snippet, sat in our training ground, isn't a good optic. Isn't good.
No.
The other part of it is he's then asked, which we don't know if it's directly follow-up or whether it's later in the interview or perhaps even earlier in the interview, is there anywhere you would like to play? It makes sense to be a follow-up. Like, okay, is there a league you'd like to play? And he said, yeah, Spain. So I've played in Italy, played in England and Spain, so that way I would have played in the top 3 European leagues. When you take the two snippets, which is what this journalist did, he's basically sat in our training ground saying, yeah, this summer I'm going to probably want to leave and I'd like to go to Spain.
It's not a good look.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And he's a vice captain of the side. Now, for me, I think it was disrespectful. I think it was naive and stupid in the sense of you are a vice captain of the side. And I said the exact same things when Harry Kane did this to us when he was talking to Gary Neville.
Yep.
All that time ago. We had games left in the season. Don't do that interview then. Or if you do an interview like that, and you're not stupid. A journalist is going to hear you answer a question like that and go, ka-ching.
Yep.
Brilliant. That's my clickbait sorted. Because I'll release that snippet and everyone's going to want to watch the full interview now. Brilliant. When Kane did that with Gary Neville, that was planned. That was a plan to try and engineer a move away from the club. For him, that failed that summer because the club dug their heels in, pissed off because he did that.
Yep.
With Romero, I think Romero is in a slightly different position because I think because of his injury record, if someone's willing to pay the money the club values him at, I think the club would sell him, regardless of this interview. I genuinely think that. I think when you've had a player who's missed over 50% of the games this season, and he missed 30% the season before, and yet has made 100% of his fixtures for Argentina, you are going to look at that and say, okay, he's not committed. We made him a vice captain. He said all the right things, but that commitment's not showing. Now, we also know, and I got to say this, behind the scenes with all the medical stuff and everything, there is a lot of angry players, not just Romero. A lot of the squad are angry over how they've been treated medically at the club this season. And they're angry over methods.
That's a massive thing. Like, if you are an athlete of any type Your medical well-being has got to be an absolute priority.
And there's trust. There has to be trust. And apparently certain things, trust 100% broken. Players have basically got their own physios away from the club. It has become a mess. And Romero, quite rightly, took a massive dig at the club over this.
Yep.
And so he has been moving himself to the exit door all season. He has been. As a club, there are two teams in Spain who want him. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. Both of them want him. Neither of them can afford the price we've got on him, which is £60 million.
Yep.
So they are going to have to make us offers or deals or players or, whatever. But if they don't meet that valuation, then Daniel Levy is not selling him, and Cuti Romero would literally need to hand in a transfer request.
And even then, we don't have to say yes. Yeah.
No, we don't, but just the significance of that, for everyone knows, there's loyalty bonuses built into contracts which are worth a lot of money. So if Cuti does hand in a formal transfer request, he forgoes that, which in essence would drop down the money, and therefore if the club's offering 45, 50 million and we're saying no, it's got to be 60, but he hands in a request, it would make the deal more...
Gotcha.
I've probably bored everyone there. But he would, if he really wants to leave that badly, he would go that far. Then I think the club would do a deal to get him out the door, because obviously that's going to become toxic.
And I think as soon as the fans hear the words transfer request,
and
90% of the fans are going to go, all right, fuck off then.
Well, I'm going to say this now. I'm going to be a little bit cynical that there is no winning for the board there. I am not happy with the board, the ownership of this club whatsoever.
No.
You force him to stay when he wants to leave, the fans are going to deem you a dickhead. You sell him and don't replace him because you've already signed Dragusin and Danzo. With the greatest respect to those two players, they're not on the same level.
No, don't forget, we've already got 70 million earmarked for Mark Gahey. Don't worry, it's fine.
If you just circle back to that, even if that was true, which we both comically know was bollocks, PR.
I'm just like to keep reminding the fans that the club said
no, you have to.
And
Man, you have to, because as soon as the summer window opens, one of the first things I'm going to do on social media is tag the club and everyone to see, as much as I possibly can, to say, when's the Mark Gahey deal happening? Because everyone needs to do it, because it was PR. And we've seen it time and time again. It was nonsense, because if it wasn't, then they'd still be talking to him.
Yep.
They'd be doing a deal, ready to announce it immediately in the summer, but they're not. And there's so many reasons why they're not. One of them being we don't know who our manager's going to be. Number two, we don't know who our director of football's going to be.
Nope. Number
three, we don't know who the whole senior executive of the club for football operations is going to be, because Scott Munn, Johan Lang and Ange Postecoglou are apparently all going to be fired in the summer.
Yeah.
They are all under review because of the changes that have happened at the club, and we've gone from up there to down here following all those changes.
Really fucking quick. Yeah.
Really quick. Like it is insane. So you look at this Cuti. I think those 45 minutes, he knew that interview was coming out. He knew how it would be perceived, and I think he overtried, lost his head, and when he was subbed off, I don't know. I think I've seen enough of him to know him fairly well on the pitch. When he's in when the red mist descends, and it had.
Yeah.
He'd snap. Because I think he was annoyed at himself. I think he was angry at the mistake. I think the 3 goals, I think he was steaming.
Yeah.
I think he was and I think perhaps he is struggling himself to understand why him and all of his teammates are struggling to be motivated for games. He has that look of someone who is just like a rage volcano all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And in that game, to me, it looked like he's just like, I can't freaking work this out. Like, he's as much to blame as everyone. And I think he knows it. And, I have been in a situation, again, like you, but for me it was rugby. I played at a level where I got to professional level, and I know there were teams that we would smash. We knew they were crap compared to us. And I remember once showing up at a game, completely smiley, happy. This is going to be a cakewalk. And we were like so many points down before we all looked at each other like, holy shit, we could lose to this lot. That's embarrassing.
Yep.
But you show up with the wrong mentality. You cannot shake it. It is like a real issue. And I know a lot of people listening to this will then say, well, that's all down to Ange. And to a certain extent, I do agree. I do agree with that, because he is the one. You hire a manager's role is to motivate the team.
And I remember when we signed him, all the clips coming out from like his Australia days and stuff, where he could give these team talks where, you know, the teams would walk through the freaking changing room wall to get to the pitch for him. Like, he could motivate like crazy. And I'm watching this team now and I'm like, where has it gone?
Well, this is a... if I was to give a Churchillian speech to you and the people with Spurs news to motivate us to get through these 5 games, I think it would work. I can give a good speech, man.
Yes, you can.
If you've heard me give that speech twice a week for an entire year, you're bored of it.
Yeah, I can understand
and
that.
I think that's where we're at. I think he could give the most motivating, impassioned speech in their lives right now. And they're like, yeah, I heard this last week.
Yeah, they're finishing sentences for him almost.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels. I have no idea. I mean, to be a fly on the wall, it'd be intriguing. I would
if there was ever a season for Amazon to be doing a documentary, I bet they wish it was this one.
Man, Amazon would just make a series of us every year. Just like, they wouldn't call it All or Nothing. It'd just be called Tottenham Hotspur this year. Every year is a friggin'... And everyone would watch it. Like, you would have fans of every single club sitting down and going, oh, I can't wait to watch this season, man. It is, to behind the scenes, it would be compelling. But as Pochettino said in an interview not that long ago, it was probably the worst thing that had ever been conceived in football to stick that level of intrusion when you were trying to build stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what we're saying. So the Gray thing, I see this everywhere. Archie Gray's been shit on. Gray's had this, Gray's had that. Gray's got about 4 or 5 niggly injuries. That means that he is now being monitored closely and is not being played or is not able to do a 90. He also, in an ideal world, or sort of as planned at the start of the season, has played nearly triple the amount of minutes the club intended because of his age. He's still 18?
Yes.
19?
Yep.
At that age, and a lot of us listening to this are a little bit older than that, your body's still developing. Your muscles are still developing. You're stretching, growing, all that kind of stuff. If you do too much at that age, you will f yourself up. A brilliant, brilliant interview with someone who I can rarely understand when they're talking, with Wayne Rooney, about how he wishes he'd maybe stayed being protected at Everton for at least another season or 2, because he talks about how physically, as he got towards the end of his career in his 30s, he was done.
Yep.
Like, absolutely no chance. He had to retire. I think he retired at 33, 34, which in this game nowadays isn't really a retirement age. You know, Jan Vertonghen's retiring at 38.
Yeah.
You know, I think Rooney's former teammate Ronaldo is going to play till he's 50.
I mean, yeah, he is playing in like what is essentially the lowest division in England.
Yeah, and having fun.
Yeah, he's basically turning up to a park each day and kicking the ball around with some locals at this point.
And getting paid a lot.
Like £1 million a week or something disgusting.
Oh, mate, it's don't. Let's move away from that. But my point is this. If Archie Gray plays the next game and he breaks down and he's out injured and it's serious, he requires surgery at the age of 18, everyone's going to talk about how mismanaged he's been.
Yep.
The fact he's not playing right now doesn't mean he's not rated, doesn't mean he's not regarded, doesn't mean he doesn't feel respected. He's part of every squad, he's involved in every training session, but there are senior players now back fit who are getting minutes and playing because they are senior players for a reason. He's 18.
Do you know what?
And it's not a slight on him. It's not some sort of, oh my God, you know, you really helped us through this period, but now you can F off. He's there.
I know. I'm so glad you've kind of said that that's what it was, because when you first said it earlier, I will circle back to that. I was like, oh shit, what's he done?
No.
He's turned round in a training session to Ange and told me to fuck off. I'm a midfielder. Stop playing me in defence or something.
Yeah.
And pissed everyone off. No, I'm actually quite happy that if it's actually like they've taken the time to go, right, okay, we need to calm this kid down. Like, that's like fine. I can deal with that.
You can, young age as well. I mean, you run through walls. You think you're invincible. So I've got no doubt he's feeling frustrated at the moment. But you've got to look after him. Like, you've got to.
And in fairness to him, at the end of every game, he seems to be the first one on the pitch, giving everyone a hug, going, yeah! Like, he's definitely integrated in the squad and part of it.
Yeah. There's no issue there. People are looking. You can be annoyed at Ange without looking for things.
Oh yeah,
and that is such a reach to be annoyed about that. Like, it is such a reach, and you don't need it. Like, it's such a kind of nonsense. Like, okay, all right. So you're telling me the 18-year-old midfielder Archie Gray, who played fullback for a season in the Championship, is a better central defender than Romero, who's won the World Cup? No, Romero's fit. He's playing. He's right-footed, so you don't put him in ahead of Mickey van der Ven.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So in midfield at the moment, Bergval's playing out of his skin, playing brilliantly, but then you've also got the international Bentancur, you've got the international Sarr, you've got the international Basuma.
And even Bergval is the same. He's still only so young.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be another one where they're now kind of... You can see he's coming off the bench more and stuff now instead of starting.
I was going to say, he is being managed as well, because they are looking at his performances in Europe especially, and he's brilliant. And they're looking at that. You also got to remember that we play Bud Glimt on their plastic pitch, and we all saw how great we were at that in the FA Cup at Tamworth.
Yes.
And it's in the friggin' Arctic Circle. Like, it's not a joke. We're going to be going there. It's going to be freezing ass cold on a plastic ass pitch. That is going to be a nightmare. And injuries happen on those pitches and shit. And our players aren't exactly the best in the world at dealing with anything that's, even slightly out of normal.
I mean, looking at it like as well, even if it's the middle of their summer, it's still going to be freaking cold in the Arctic Circle. And
just
knowing
bit,
what
man.
VAR's like, if you are playing on a plastic pitch, which is harder than a normal pitch anyway, you're running around. Oh, VAR, 4-minute check. You're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, and I don't know about anyone else, but apparently, I mean, I've forgotten, but apparently this season we've had an issue with injuries.
Yeah, muscle injuries in particular.
So maybe right now, when you know your pure focus is the Europa League, rotating players around, swapping them in and out, minutes here, minutes there, in the league is what you need to do.
Yeah.
To keep everyone at a certain level simmering, so on the Thursday night they can go full, and that's clearly the plan. I think there's no doubt in my mind, even if we are to win a trophy, which is still a massive if, even if we are to win a trophy, I think Ange is gone this summer. I think if we win, I think there'll be a mutual parting, because I think he needs to get away from us.
It's like leave on a high or not. Yeah.
I think regardless, I think he's going. And the next manager debate's beginning, but I think one of the key reasons why he needs to go, regardless, is you look at a percentage of league defeats in a season. This is our worst percentage of defeats in a season since the 1970s, when we were relegated. And the only other time in our history it's been that bad, we were also relegated in the 1920s.
Yeah.
So that is how bad it is.
We are genuinely lucky the bottom three have been as bad as they have.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely we are. So this is, when people are talking about, this is the worst manager I've seen in my lifetime and stuff like that, just this season, because if you add it into the last season as well, actually, he's not the worst. Just so everyone's aware, if you combine the two, even Glenn Hoddle's worse than him.
Yep.
But focusing on this season is so bad, this is very quickly, when you look at the fixtures we've got left, going to be not just our worst ever Premier League season, it is probably going to go down as our worst league season in the club's history.
I don't see where another win comes from this season. Like, looking at, I can see maybe a couple of draws, but I really don't see a win.
Our next game
terrifying.
is Liverpool. Our next game is against Liverpool, where Liverpool can win the Premier League.
They only need a draw.
I don't know about anybody else, but I don't think our motivation is going to be all that high to give Arsenal a ray of hope. Just putting it out there.
No.
I don't think it is. However, there is nothing more Tottenham in this world than to go to Anfield, where it should just be a nice procession for the team in red, where we applaud every goal they score, and actually win the
3-0
game
or something,
and drive me insane doing it, because I would be the most conflicted, angry bastard in the world over that. But look, in reality, that's just fantasy. In reality, this season, the odds of us going to Anfield and getting anything other than a Tonkin is pretty remote. I don't know what sort of team's going to get fielded in that. I mean, Ange plays the under-21s. I think Arsenal are going to go crazy. That could be a reason enough to do it. But yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, an interesting stat, okay? Because I think this sums up how friggin' insane we are this season. Up until last night, when Arsenal played Crystal Palace, and I think they drew.
2-2.
Was it 2-2?
Yeah.
2-2, okay. Arsenal scored 2 goals in that game. Prior to that game, Tottenham and Arsenal had scored the same amount of league goals this season.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah. So, where's our problem?
it ain't up that end of the
defending.
pitch. Yeah.
No. We, under Ange Ball, if you like, we create chances and we score goals to the same level as the team sat in second in the league. However, our defending is championship level at best, and I'm talking relegation championship level. There has to be a in between. There has to be where you can play this style of football and also defend.
Yeah.
Now, you can potentially look at this and say, well, in fairness, this season, for a massive, massive chunk, our first choice backline has not been able to play. And that's true. That is a fact. And if you take the first choice backline out of any team, and I'm talking goalkeeper, both central defenders, one or both fullbacks alternating, you do that from anyone in the league and they will concede more goals.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. So I do get it. There is a rationale there. But the thing is they've been back together now for a few weeks. Our results haven't improved. That's obviously a motivational thing.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to next season, you're like, okay, everything the same, but without the injuries, I have no idea where we stand. Like, I genuinely don't. Because if you're starting the season fresh, we got no injuries. Let's just say we do a Leicester. We get no one injured all season. Everyone stays fit. Everyone can play. If we score the same amount of goals again, but concede a lot less, we're top 4.
Yeah.
Easily. like comfortably top 4, challenging for the title. That's insane. That's like not changing our attacking output whatsoever, just defending
just
better.
Tightening up at the back.
Yeah. Like, I think someone did an analysis, because we've lost so many games, but only by 1 goal. Like, you defend better. They were like, you defend better for 10 goals. Our points difference launches us from like 16th in the league up to 5th.
Jeez.
That's just 10 goals.
Madness, isn't it? Absolute madness.
And the thing that I think winds me up the most is, yeah, absolutely, we can look at Ange, we can look at all this, and we can look at all the injuries. There's so many reasons for it, but how is nobody in a coaching setup, or nobody, like Scott Munn, what is your job? At no point has Scott Munn walked from his office into Ange's office, sat down with him and gone, look, yeah, we got an injury crisis, yeah, we need to work out why that is. But how about you stop fucking around because we're conceding goals left, right and centre? How about one of you on the training field goes, right guys, defending, 101. He is your goalkeeper. Everyone introduce yourselves as like none of you have met before.
Yep.
He is your fullback. Yeah, everyone met him before, you know. How has that not happened? How has nobody in any of the setup at any point gone, this isn't fucking working?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Players are injured. We're losing every week. And it just, why has no one done that job? And I think that needs to be part of the review, if nothing else.
Like, we can have a high line, but let's have that high line just 10 yards further back. Let's have a high-ish line. Let's just, you know.
The season before, we had an assistant with Ange called Chris Davis. Chris Davis left in the summer to join Birmingham, become their manager.
What a job he's done.
Birmingham have been promoted. He has done a phenomenal job, built on a very strong defence and a good attacking style of football. Did Chris Davis make that much of a difference to our training? It has to be a question mark. It genuinely must. Because in season 2, we've gone from 5th to 16th.
Yeah.
And possibly worse. Like it is insane. Was he literally the only guy there going like Ange walks off and he goes, right, defenders, to me, yeah, do defend a bit as well, right?
Yeah. Just try.
Like, Ange is right, you know, Ange ball, but, you know, maybe in the game, just sit off a little bit. Maybe when the ball comes in, you head it away, you don't try and bring it down and play. All right? Just a thought. Just throwing it out there.
Just try it.
I don't know. I like I said, to be a fly on the wall, who knows? But it is Liverpool next. I think we got... I don't think we're going to win that. I don't think we're going to get a draw. I think we're going to get absolutely hammered.
What I just can't get my head around is that I am 30, what year is it? I'm 34.
Yeah.
And at no point in my life can I remember this stage of the season looking at the football table and going, there's every chance we lose at the weekend.
Yeah.
If West Ham pick up a win,
your other team, yeah.
We are the team. We are literally like the worst team in the league that's not getting relegated.
You are correct, yeah.
Never in my lifetime have I seen that happen or remember it happening. And at any point, up until maybe 6 months ago, if someone had told me that could happen, I would have laughed at them. Like, you're telling me a team with a World Cup winning centre-back, James Maddison, Kulusevski, Son, you're telling me that if you take out the 3 teams that came up, we are the worst team in the Premiership?
And if you add to that, I tell you at the same time you're going to score the same amount of goals as Arsenal, who were second, you'd think I was batshit.
Yeah, we have a better goal difference than Aston Villa.
We do.
You know, there's only the top 6 and Bournemouth that have a better goal difference than us. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's shocking. It's insane. But like I said, we get dicked by Liverpool next. But the key thing is we've only got 5. We've only got 5 league games left to endure. It's just 5 left, everybody. And then we have the summer of fun, because we all know what it's like when we do a manager hunt for the summer. Oh, the joy that brings.
God,
we have countless players wanting to leave because obviously they want to play Champions League football, European football. Oh, I did say I'd mention this, so I'll finish with
this. Yes, I was going to bring you back to this.
The Europa League. Stefan, you pointed out in our chat the other day, quite rightly, and something I had forgotten to mention in the podcast. When you finish a Premier League season, depending on when you finish, the prize money varies.
Yep.
The higher up the table, the more money you get. Tottenham, with all their budgeting and everything, for the longest time, have budgeted for a top 8 finish, with the worst case of a top 10 finish in all their budgets and projections going forward. We have been fairly consistent, top 5, top 6, 8 for a couple of times, but fairly consistent for a good decade of being right up there, and therefore having the prize money that reflects that. At the moment, we are looking like, quite possibly, we are going to finish, as you said, the worst team in the league not to be relegated, which is 17th.
Yeah.
The difference in the prize money is the equivalency of the prize money from the Europa League of reaching the final. So if we are to beat Bodø/Glimt, which is a massive if because they are a good side and no one should be taking that lightly,
Yep.
we will literally only replace the money that we would normally have had from finishing top 8 in the Premier League.
So
because the Europa League prize money isn't vast, but it is better than it has been in the past.
yeah, so if I'm right, it's basically every position you go up is about £3 million.
It's very rough because there's
Roughly.
variations based on a few factors
But
as well. But
the bottom 3 teams that get relegated obviously get the parachute payments from being relegated.
oh, they get more than 17th. Do,
So
yeah.
we will be the lowest paid club
Literally,
on league position.
yeah.
Now, I'm guessing when you say making it to the final of the Europa League covers the league thing, does that include, obviously, from match day 1 to the final, you get paid money for each stage you're in? So is it like the
essence,
combined of all of that of getting to the final?
Yeah, combined, yeah.
So that our entire European run has basically paid the covering of us being 17th in the league.
Yeah, so this is where this suddenly becomes massive, because as a club we all know that attracting players, attracting coaches, whoever, you can do a certain level if you're in the Conference League, if you're in the Europa League, if you're in the Champions League. The other aspect is financial, and the financial aspect is huge for us. So if you look at the fact that this season our entire European prize money is going to be swallowed up by the money we've lost from being so shit in the league, when it comes to this summer and budgeting for the club, looking at transfers and things like that, right now there's a brilliant analysis in The Athletic, and if you subscribe to that, go and read it. We've got bunkus, zip, zero. Our budget is nothing, nada. There is no money. Because we have there is nothing, like the club suddenly cannot say, well, we'll definitely get this from the Premier League. And it looks like, because if we don't win the Europa League, we're not in Europe.
Yeah.
So we won't have any money there either. So right now, it's nada, zero, zip. However, if we do somehow, praise to all of the gods on high, win the Europa League, we not only finish the season slightly up because the extra 3 million in prize money for actually winning the thing takes us a little bit ticked over, we qualify for the Champions League. And the Champions League brings guaranteed money on day 1, pot 1, because we don't have to go through the qualifiers because we've won the Europa League.
Yeah.
So straight away, we have a budget of 40 million added that isn't there right now. Not only that, Champions League qualification brings about certain players in the squad, perhaps like Cuti Romero, sitting down with the club going, look, this season's been a disaster, but we are about to change this, the medical, all of this stuff. We want to take your advice on it. All of a sudden, you might think, well, I'm going to be playing Champions League football. Okay, let's give this another season.
I can do one more season if it's still shit.
Players,
then I'm going.
Yeah. Player, and that's when you get the kind of handshake, gentleman's agreements of like, look, this has been bad, I'll give it a year, whatever. Players coming in, suddenly, players will look at us differently. Well, okay, all right, who's going to be the new manager? Obviously, it's going to be a big thing, but all right, I'm this type of player, I'm available. Will I go to Tottenham? Yeah, I'll get Champions League football at Tottenham. Of course, I'm going to go there.
I mean, I know he's already said he's definitely not moving to London, but you've got players like Marcus Rashford out of favour.
Yeah.
He wants to move club. Yeah. Is he going to go to a club playing in the Champions League or not? He's going to go, and there'll be a lot of players this season that will be looking at, oh, you're playing Champions League football. Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, just his example is a good one because of the wages just never happened in a million years. But there are players, Angel Gomez, he's available on a free transfer this summer. He's going to have a pick of English clubs wanting to sign him. We were one of them. We have had discussions with him at length. The player wanted to wait until the summer to make his mind up. If you're in the Champions League, you are going to be able to make an offer to him, which from our point of view, he'll be classed as a homegrown player, which we need.
Yes.
And it just, it opens up so much, both financially and in actually being attractive. So suddenly, we're in a position where I can say with a degree of certainty, if there's any meetings going on between Scott Munn, Daniel Levy and Ange Postecoglou, they do not give a shit about these 5 league games. Ange, you could literally lose all of them 8-0, but if you win us the Europa League, that's all that matters. Like, literally, that is all that matters. And if you look at the way the players played against Frankfurt and then played against Nottingham Forest, the players have been told that as well.
It does feel, it has that real feeling to it, which is understandable.
But awful.
But at the same time, they're not the ones spending £60-70 on a Monday night to go and watch it. And that's who I kind of feel sorry for. It's the fans that are going to make these trips. Like, there is going to be a good amount of fans that travel all the way to Liverpool.
To be fair to those fans, they are going just to watch Liverpool win the league and not Arsenal.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
They've all been buying their Champions Liverpool t-shirts. It's fine. It's all good.
Ange can't understand it, but it's all good.
No, Ange is livid about it, but the fans are going to celebrate every goal. Just a big, just basically doing a big, holding up a tifo with Liverpool champions. Fuck you, Arsenal.
3-0. Are you watching Arsenal? I can see it already.
Yeah, and then it's going to be the reaction. Should we do something mad like be winning the game going in, and just Tottenham fans looking at it like, oh. And the Tottenham are taking the lead the 95th minute. Spurs fans are looking at each other. There's no cheering.
They don't
know what to do. No. There's utter confusion in the stands. Oh, obviously, I'm joking. They're going there in the hope that Tottenham win before ever get friggin' emails. I can't be doing with that. But look, that's our show for this week. Thank you all for continuing to listen, because if you are listening to this show and you are still consuming Tottenham content, you are a battle-hardened Spurs fan for sure. Wherever you are in the world, do not ever allow anyone to be disparaging. If you are going through this and you are still here,
fair play.
You are a true fan. We will be back next week where we will be discussing the Liverpool game.
Sam will be dragging me back to the microphone to talk to Tottenham again.
And we will try our best to find something funny to talk about. But yeah, this was episode 269, a good number. We'll be back next week. You say goodbye to all the lovely listeners and Tottenham fans.
Goodbye, you fellow sufferers.
And I'll leave you all with this. Speak soon.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.